This is Jasmine with Listen to Your Single Friend. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the lonely. Hi, friends. This is Jasmine Caress. I wanted to welcome you back to the show. Happy New Year, guys. Oh my gosh. We made it through whatever that shit was called 2020. It's just at this point, I don't even know her. I don't even know who 2020 is. As far as I'm concerned, it was 2019 and then it was 2021. But we're in the new year. I am super excited about all the things to come from the show this year. I have so much planned. This week we're going to be talking about hookup culture. So keep the conversation going on Instagram and Facebook. Listen to Your Single Friend. The Twitter account is Your Single Friend, and that's spelled Your Single, FRND. Make sure to tune into our accounts on Fridays for Screenshot Friday because it's lit. I told y'all I wasn't doing Screenshot Friday on Christmas. And then last week, Friday was New Year's Day. And y'all, listen, I had a great New Year's. So it was like 10 o'clock when I realized that it was actually Friday. So let's just say we took a holiday break for Screenshot Friday, but we are back in business this Friday. And I'm super excited because this week, of course, we're going to start the year off with some fuck shit. So definitely tune in on Friday for Screenshot Friday on all the social media. As you know, Listen to Your Single Friend is a book. So make sure to sign up for the book mailing list to get information on release dates, pre-orders, the whole nine. Go to our website, listentoyoursinglefriend.com. Again, these episodes are being uploaded to YouTube. So even if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or whatever your platform is of choice, please just pause the episode right now. Pull up the YouTube account, just type in Listen to Your Single Friend, and then click subscribe. So even if you don't listen on YouTube, just, run up my subscriptions. And in the future, I will be uploading other stuff, advice, and stuff that are not podcast specific. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, guys, let's throw it back to last week's trivia. The average courtship for marriages of people who met online was blank months, as opposed to 42 months for those who met offline. So basically the question is, how long do people date before marriage who met online versus 42 months for people who met offline? The option is A, 61 months, B, 49 months, C, 33 months, or D, 18 months. The answer is actually D. And a lot of you guys, this is the first time. It took y'all 8 episodes, but this is the first time that majority of the people got it right. So shout out to y'all. I stumped y'all for about 7 episodes straight, but this is the first time that you guys really actually got the answer right. So the answer is that it is 18 months for people who met online to enter into or head into marriage, as opposed to 42 months for those who met offline. And it's like, does that surprise you? I feel like folks be hating on online dating, but the online dating folks get married quicker than the folks who meet in person. So what's really good? But I thought that was a really, really fun fact for people who like to shit on online dating and, the women who turn their noses up like, oh, I just want to meet someone in person. I'll just wait till the outside is open again. Child, folks is out here getting married, okay? And they're getting married much quicker than people who met in person. So just wanted to put that out there. It's time for the quote of the day. I'm always going to start you guys off with positive vibes. This quote of the day for the first one of the new year is, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. I love this because this year is about setting boundaries, advocating for yourself, learning when to take time, and table things and just give yourself space, giving yourself time to think and, have some clarity and growth. So I absolutely loved that quote because, as we'll discuss in today's episode, it really is just about setting your boundaries and, doing what you said you were going to do and, just being true to yourself, basically. So that is your quote of the day. It's time for Goals and Goofies. So I saw this article. One of my producers sent it to me actually about it was on XO Nicole. And it was about this married couple. They've been married for about 10 years now, but it was talking about like when they first started dating and what their learning lessons were. So the couple is Eric and Shonda. And Shonda said something that I just thought was so amazing. So she said, I really didn't know the difference between dating and courting, but Eric showed me what courting really looked like. It sounds old school, but it's still relevant today. I knew he was the one based on how he treated me and the fact that he let me be. I used to merely hear, I love you. But this time, not only did I hear him say that he loved me, but he showed me that he loved me. There's no greater sign of a man who is in love than one whose actions match his words. We were long distance, but he made every effort to come and see me every month. He would drive literally 900 miles to see me at least once a month. I knew he was serious about dating me and having a future with me. I could tell by the way he treated me. He didn't just say he loved me, but he showed me through his actions. Swoon, guys. First of all, he's driving 900 miles. Like, men don't even like to text me back. Like, I don't understand. Like, some of y'all are just so fucking lucky. This man really drove 900 miles to go see this woman. Like, I thought that this was absolutely beautiful. And I thought that she said some really key things here as we get into a discussion about hookup culture today. Like, talking about it sounding old school, you know what I mean? But there is a difference between dating and courting. And I think that she put so much emphasis on his actions. He wasn't just saying it, he was about it. Like, and I love that. Like, he literally, this is the definition of pull up. So I thought this was super, super cute. This is you guys' goals of the week because, yes, shout out to men who are intentional. It's time for Goofies. Nothing too crazy. I just wanted to talk about Kanye and Kim real quick. They are just such a mess. Like, I just want to be clear. Divorce makes me sad. And like, I've met people who are divorced and I said, I'm sorry to hear that. And they'll be like, oh no, I'm happy to be out of that bullshit. You know what I mean? But even when divorce is necessary, I still hate to hear about it. But these two are fucking train wrecks. I feel like once a year we're hearing about how they are getting ready to get divorced, and I just feel like Kanye and Kim are such attention whores and I just don't like them. And I feel like the clan, everybody pretty much knows that the Kardashian clan has all the major blogs and publications basically on payola. So when you hear about them, it's not particularly random. And so, they run like a very well-oiled machine, and a lot of, a lot of their influencing is based on their relevancy. And so that's why, it'll be quiet for 6 months. And then all of a sudden Kim's ass is on Instagram. Or all of a sudden you get an article about, oh, things are not well in the, Kardashian Kanye household. They are absolutely going to capitalize off of this, painting out Kanye to be, crazy. And he does have his mental health issues. But, it did just hit the blogs yesterday that basically they are in couples counseling, but it's looking like a divorce is imminent. And, like I said, it is sad because I just don't like to hear that, I believe in marriage and it does just make me sad. However, these two are attention whores and they're train wrecks. And the fact that it's in the blogs and it's not finished just tells me that they're already getting ready to like make money moves into this. They're already getting ready to capitalize off of this. So, just an update. Kanye and Kim, it's just not looking good. Hate to hear it, but I just feel like they be on fuck shit. And this could just be the umpteenth ploy for attention. You know what I mean? So they get in my goofies this week because I'm just over them. Like, break up or don't, but like, stop with the back and forth. Like, and stop with it so publicly. Like I said, we know that y'all got all the blogs on payroll. Like, stop putting feeding shit to the media just because y'all want attention. Like, I'm over it. Goofies of the week, Kanye and Kim, because they're annoying. I wanted to talk about hookup culture today. According to Wikipedia, hookup culture is, I'm going to give y'all a definition. Hookup culture or a hookup culture is one that accepts and encourages casual sex encounters, including one night stands and other related activity, without necessarily including emotional intimacy, bonding, or a committed relationship. In theory, it's like, are you talking to this person? You know, I don't believe in talking, but like, are you guys dating? Are you friends with benefits? Are you F buddies? Like, hookup culture is such a pain point for people who are dating in 2021 in whatever year, because like hookup culture has changed the dynamic of the way that we interact with people that we're seeking partnership with or people that we're seeking interactions with. Hookup culture changed the dating game. And it's frustrating because, a lot of people have what I like to say is like three schools of thought when it comes to dating. You're a traditional dater, traditional gender roles, we don't touch each other until we're in a committed relationship or we're married. So there's the traditional dating aspect. Then there's like what I'll just name like millennial dating. And basically that is hookup culture. Just basically like, yeah, we've been dating for a couple of weeks. Now we're having sex and, we'll just see what goes from there. Um, and then there's the last one, which is like a mixture of the two. So you got a little bit of traditional dating, but a little bit of millennial dating mixed in there. And it's frustrating because it's like you might be someone who doesn't mind the casualness of hookup culture and of, millennial dating, but you might meet someone who is more traditional and who just feels like, we need to be dating for a certain amount of time and then we need to get into a relationship and then we need to do this and then we need to do that. You know what I mean? Like the trajectory is different depending on how you date. And so when you interact with the guy, it's like, I don't, it's hard because you have to, figure out like, where does he stand and is that in line with how I choose to date? And so, I'm not going to drag hookup culture per se, but I will just talk about how frustrating it is because, dating is just different. It's just very, very different now. Traditionally, our values, about sex and about when it's appropriate to get intimate with somebody and about, like when you should be vulnerable and when you should start getting that emotional intimacy and start bonding on another level with somebody. Our values have just changed. It's not like it is with our grandparents. It's not like it is, even with our parents. I feel like it was, I feel like the shift in the culture has only been like the last, I'd say like 20-30 years. So that's why I call it millennial dating. Because it's really just been in this last, well, technically millennials are not the last generation, but it's just been in this last, couple decades where things have changed. I see a lot where people say, like, why aren't people staying married anymore? Like, why aren't we getting married like our grandparents, And these memes just go viral. And I do just kind of want to address that really quickly. And this kind of gets us into the history of how hookup culture kind of came to be. So it was different for women. Like in the 50s or less, their only options were to marry. Like, women were finally getting the chance to work. And even to this day, they still don't get the respect or pay that men do. So, yes, back then, women heavily prioritized their households. They heavily prioritized being homemakers. They heavily prioritized marriage because they likely weren't working at all or their home life was their only job. Now, women have options. And with the feminist movement, I feel like there was just like I said, there was a shift in the culture because women have options. We don't have to get married, and we don't have to be committed to a man in order for us to have financial freedom. And with the peak of sexual freedom, you know, basically women don't need men for anything else but dick at this point. So that has absolutely changed the way that dating has happened. I definitely think that the history behind this is so important so people can understand kind of how we got here. Nobody in particular did anything wrong. It was just socially things changed. And so, you know, we live in a very patriarchal society, and even still women are looked at differently because you're not married or you're not in a relationship or whatever the case may be. But women have options now, and it's like they don't have to do anything to get the things that they want. They can work to get their money. They can find a man to have sex with. They can find a man to hang out with. They can find a man to take to their family functions. Like, women just have options now. And, like, I've been watching Bridgerton, and I told y'all last week I'm obsessed with this show. I'm on my second rewatch, and it's only been out for a week. The big storyline that a lot of people took issue with was that, in the 1800s, even kissing a man was seen as impure for a woman. But again, women's jobs were to marry, and it was that way at least up until the last 50 years ago. And now we make money and we don't have to marry if we don't want to. And let's address this whole, like, people aren't staying married like our grandparents. They were married 40, 50 years. Like, people who have been married more than 20 years will tell you, like, I need y'all to actually talk to people who have been married long term. Marriage is difficult. They will, like, even my married friends who've not been married that long will tell you that much. And I feel like we glamorize our grandparents' generation because they were married for so long, but they were also getting married very young. Like, a lot of them were married as teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, I think my great grandmother was married by the time she was 21. That was very, very normal for their culture. So no, 40 to 50 years is not that big of a deal. But again, women they didn't have options back then. And now we still want partnership, and that's okay, and companionship. We want partnership and companionship, but we can do it on our own terms. And so that is the best thing about, the shift in the culture, whether you agree or disagree, and wherever you stand on the spectrum of how you choose to date. We do have to acknowledge the history behind this, and we do have to acknowledge that, there have been some social and financial changes in society and in our culture in general that have impacted our dating lives. So another thing that's relevant to bring up is basically, like, cell phones becoming a thing. The genders were given different options to date and more freedom because when did cell phones come out? Like the 90s. So when cell phones came out, it started this technology age that we're in right now. So you don't have to call someone after work on the house phone, like, they don't have to be home in order for you to talk to them. And you can call people while they're out and about, you can hit people up anytime. The reason why this is important in understanding the history of hookup culture is that when cell phones came out, it also changed the fucking game. In my opinion, hookup culture is not about sex. it's about accessibility. You have access to a person's time, their sex, their emotions, their support mentally. I think that hookup culture is more than just the sexual aspect. Yes, people are hooking up and there are less parameters around when that happens, but it's more than that, in my opinion, especially when you're dating. Like, I just think that, it really comes down to accessibility. And once cell phones came out, then there was computers, and well, computers were already out, but then there was like laptops, and you could like video chat people. People used to aim back in the 90s, instant messenger. Like, you had more access to people. You didn't have to be out and be in the streets necessarily to be getting to know the person that you're dating. And so this accessibility also changed the culture. We as the millennials are the Google generation. We're used to instant gratification, and cell phones changed that. The technology has changed that. So I think the accessibility piece is like one of the crucial parts to understanding, like, basically, how the fuck did we get here? Like, I can call up a number of men and have access to them right this second. And a man can call up another woman, a number of women, and have access to them right this second. Like, we are all reaping the free benefits of access to people. Like, we don't really have to work that hard. Then social media came about. I don't even gotta leave the house to find somebody. Like, I just need to drop a hot pic on the gram and follow some cute boys, and they'll be in my inbox. And then obviously in the last, I don't know when dating apps started, the last 5 to 10 years, then there was dating apps. So the key here is accessibility. And a lot of that technological stuff, it really, really advanced the community, and it really, really advanced the culture. But again, these are things that people don't really think about that impacted dating today and heavily influenced hookup culture. I feel like so many people assume that people are just loosey goosey. Like, I feel like so many people assume that, well, women just aren't, respecting themselves anymore. Why the fuck is the onus always on women to be the ones who, like, cause this to happen? Like, I feel like there is accountability on both sides. Women have way more freedoms than they used to, and we're not held back by society and by patriarchy. And that absolutely has, impacted hookup culture. But men can't sit up here and say, well, women don't do this anymore. Women just, like, we know that men like the chase, and men like, they like having to work, and they like having to try or whatever. They like the game. They like the whole game of dating. However, you cannot solely blame women for this shift in the culture. And, I just feel like people just assume that this happened because women just lost their morals. Like, we got to stop with that shit. Like, we really, really have to stop with that shit. It wasn't just that women lost their morals. It was that women had more options, and men, if they truly felt some type of way, you be the leader, you be the standard, you be the one that's like, no, you know what I mean, like, let's take our time, let's get to know each other. But like I said, we are all reaping the free benefits of access to people. Like, if you throw it at a man, he gonna catch it, okay? It's just that women do not get turned down. Rarely. I don't know a lot of men who are just gonna turn down the free benefits that come with the access to a woman. And again, I'm not just talking sex, the emotions, the support. I got somebody to pull up, you know what I mean? When, I got a family function, like, we're all reaping the benefits. So I really just wanted to level set, I personally find joy in dating and getting to know men and learning about them. I am more of a traditional dater. But I'd say, like, if I had to call it, I feel like everyone should be number three. Everyone should be a mix between traditional dating and millennial dating, or this quote unquote hookup culture. And the reason I say that is because you do have to adapt. You do have access to people on a different level, and you're going to struggle in dating if you're like, being very, very rigid and very, very, you know, just kind of old school about how you choose to engage with the person you're seeing. That's not to say that they deserve access to you 100% all the time, all day. Like, I am very clear on the fact that men don't have constant access to me. If you're not my boyfriend, like, sometimes you're just not going to hear from me. Like, you don't get to just text me and throw last minute plans on me. I'm not coming over. We're not sleeping together. I'm not your girlfriend, but I will text you. Like, that's a part of like, that's a part of it. Um, neither is really better than the other. Like, I'll FaceTime a guy. You know what I mean? It's really not one is particularly better than the other. It really is understanding where you lie in this dynamic, and you have to move accordingly as you nail down what you're looking for. Because if, like I said, if you go into a situation and you're a traditional dater and a man is not, then it's just like, you have to be able to assess, do you want to be flexible? Do you want to, give a little, like, and be a little bit more millennial when it comes to your interactions with this person? Or do you want to just keep it traditional? You got to make plans with me 2 days in advance. I'm not answering the phone after 9:30. Like, you're gonna have to date me X amount of time. We're gonna have to, like, date for this amount of time before we even get, any form of sexual. Like, I'm not here to tell people how to fuck or when to fuck, or what will help you get what you want. I just want people to understand kind of how we got here, and the key for me is making sure you understand where you stand. And when you understand where you stand, dating becomes easier because you can advocate for yourself, and you can say, oh, hold up, like, we're not sleeping together. Like, I don't get down like that. Like, you have to get to know me. You have to put in effort. You have to try. You know what I mean? So that's really what I just wanted to do, is level set. And a part of that, advocating for yourself, you know what I mean? You do have to stand your ground, because let's be honest, men will finesse. Like, men will, like, make you think that they're dating you traditionally. And then, 3 weeks later, you then chilled with this guy and y'all had sex. Now you're right smack dab in the middle of hookup culture. You're smack dab in the middle of, millennial dating. And if you were looking for something more serious, it does exponentially decrease your chances, the quicker that you sleep with a guy. And again, just to be clear, like, I know people who had sex on the first night and they are very happy. They are very happy. I know married couples who slept together on the first night. But going back to what I just said, you have to figure out where you stand in this dynamic and move accordingly. If you want something more serious from a guy, you have to lay out the groundwork and understand, like, what's going to work for you and what's not. Like, men will, and that's the thing, some men may be traditional daters, but they will test you. They will test you. They will legit ask you to come over and chill just to see if you'll do it. So I think I said this before. Like, I think I said this in the dating tip last week or the week before. Like, stop internalizing the things that men do. They will try it. They absolutely will try it, because sometimes they just testing you just to see, like, I wonder if she's gonna crack. And we be cracking shit. I be cracking, but you know what I mean? Like, you gotta take heed to the game and just, like, advocate for yourself. And then there will be the guys who will ask you to come over and chill, and then legit get upset that you won't, So you'll have the traditional dater guys who may test you just to see, okay, you know what I mean? You say you don't. I was just talking to one of my cousins, and he said this girl laid out all the rules when we first started dating about, like we can't sleep together until this, and that, and we had sex before the week was over. Like, and he was like, dang, he even said it was so, he was like, I don't even have it like that. Like, I ain't even got that kind of, my game ain't even all of that. But basically, women will set boundaries that they don't adhere to. So that's why it's so important to figure out where you stand and then move accordingly. I advocate for myself early and often if something isn't working for me. And let's be clear, like, hoes are not the problem. A woman who demands that a man put in effort before he has access, and again, access is not just sex. A woman that demands a man puts in effort before he has access to a woman, to her, I feel like she knows her worth, literally and figuratively. Like, I often find that the women ruining the games are not hoes. Like, you see these Instagram baddies and, these Instagram influencers, like your Dreas or Bernice Burgos or whoever the case may be. And what's funny is Drea literally said your whole facts can be deleted, which I think is hilarious. Everybody in 2021, your whole facts has been deleted. Whatever happened in 2020 does not exist. I've had friends reaching out to me and told me that they are virgins in 2021. So shout out to y'all. But I digress. Drea, those type of women, like, men know when you approach that girl, you better come fucking correct. And that doesn't mean that Drea isn't going to sleep with that guy within a few weeks, but she's absolutely making sure she's gaining something from the interaction. The power of the pussy is strong, and I feel like too many women give that power up way too early. It's up to you to determine, what does a man have to do to determine access to me? It ain't shit out here for free. Okay, like, it's nothing out here that's for free. You're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to give some effort. You're gonna have to try. Like, there's levels to this shit. To be clear, like, a woman who is fucking on her own terms is solid, and she has my absolute respect. So if you find yourself in that millennial dating space, that's cool. Like, I know women who, like, move accordingly. Like, I was fucking this dude, but he wasn't, doing what I needed him to do. So I just moved on to another dude, and that's who I'm dating now. But I'm not sleeping with him because I want him to earn me. And, fucking and dating on your own terms, I find that super respectable. I feel like sleeping with men just because you think they like you or because you like them and they have literally not tried is not the move. Giving a man access to you when he has not earned it is not the move. Like, he has to put in some sort of effort, and we have to stop with the slut shaming of other women. Like, don't be listening to this episode like, I am not a millennial dater. I'm not like the rest of these hoes. Like, that's not what this is about at all. Like, learn something from these women. I'm about to get onto my Tyra Banks bag. Learn something from this. Learn something from the women who are requiring effort from these men. Pay to play does not mean money. We're not talking about prostitution, okay? It's about effort. It's about attention. It's about time. It's about intention. Those are the buzzwords that matter. In contrast, I find that there are some women who feel that they are quote unquote good girls. And honestly, they're the ones who are messing up the game. They fuck these men for absolutely nothing, low effort. Oh, he texted me every day for a week, and I went over and hung out with him, and, like, he might have took you to a 2-3 star restaurant, texted you for a couple weeks straight. Then you go over his house because you feel like you know him, but you don't. Like, all that shit is smoke and mirrors. Like, this false sense of intimacy that men give you through text message is bullshit. Y'all know I don't like texting. Like, I don't like texting at all because it's like I cannot get to know you as a human, as a person through text message. My rule of thumb is, if I can't read your text in your voice, we don't know each other well enough to be texting. Like, I don't mind the little foo-foo bullshit. Oh, what you doing? What you got going on? But I like intention when men text me. Like, ask me, what am I doing because you want to call me later on? Ask me how my week is going or what I have planned for the week because you're trying to, figure out if you want to go out with me or not. But all that faux intimacy that men give, like, all of it is bullshit. So I just really need people to stop, like, slut slut shaming other women because they're taking control of their love lives and their sex lives. And I really need for women who think that they are this good girl to stop fucking up the game, because y'all are giving sex to these men and these men are turning around, and like I said, some dudes will legit get mad because you don't come over and chill. You know what I mean? Because the dynamic has changed drastically. And this is not to say that the men are not accountable for being on their fuck shit. Like I said earlier, men are quick to blame women for, why this dynamic in the culture has shifted, but they don't have no problem taking that easy sex constantly and then going to the next woman like, oh, what do you mean you're not going to come over and chill? What you mean I got to take you to a restaurant? You want me to date you for more than a month before I can touch your body? Like, men will really absolutely try it, but I'm not like in theory victim blaming, but I do just want to, point out to women how we have a little bit of accountability in this too. Like, I have said this before, men are overfucked and they are under delivering. And they're just not trying. You know what I mean? And then these same women go out and they slut shame other women because she's doing this, these hoes just sleep with all these men. These hoes is getting what they want, period. Like, and look at you, slept with this man after a week and don't got shit to come from it. Like, like, we're not gonna sit up here and act like one side is better than the other. So, I just really want to be clear about that. Fuck on your own terms, like, live your love life on your own terms, but please understand that every single person, no matter how you date, you have an impact on this dynamic and on this culture and on the shift that dating has had. And so, just move accordingly and advocate for yourself often, and just make sure that when a man has access to you, he has earned it. Like, make sure that this is something that has come from effort that he's given. Because, like I said, men will try it, and, just don't get caught out here in the game because they absolutely will try it. It doesn't matter whether you fall on the traditional time frame or the more expedited time frame of dating. Make sure they're putting in this work. We enter shades of gray, and like, not the sexy kind. Like, when we're like not clear on our boundaries, and this can often lead to situationships. And honestly, I think it's not even that the boundaries aren't clear. It's more so that I feel like sometimes people just aren't honest with themselves about what they want and how they feel. I feel like people will say one thing and then do another. Like, I cannot count how many times women will say, I'm back to the streets. I'm treating men the way they treat me. And then they date like a millennial or participate in the hookup culture. And then they're back on my line and they're like, I don't understand why he's not committing to me. And it's like, girl, you got to pick one. Like, if you want to do a mixture between these two types of dating, that's fine. But there is a fine balance. Don't sit up here and play in the pool when you know it's too deep for you. Like, don't be entertaining these men sexually, knowing good and well that you are liable to catch feelings. If you're the type of person that catches feelings, don't even try to play these games. Date in your lane. Like, dating your lane means a lot of things, but in particular, don't be trying to play with the big dogs, like, and embrace hookup culture in your dating life, thinking that a relationship is going to come out of it. Like, I love women who do shit on their own terms, but they are also very clear about what they want and what they expect. So when you are dating frivolously and just kind of out here, like, being out here is not with the shit. Like it's just not cool. Being out here is not the move. Be intentional about whatever it is that you want to do. And that could just be, I'm going to sleep with as many guys as I feel like it. Because you know what? You fucking can. But at least you're intentional about what you're doing. And you know, or you should know, that you can sleep with those guys and move the hell on. But I feel like a lot of people are not honest with themselves. Like, it just frustrates me when women like to say, I'm this, and they like to hype themselves up like they're players. And I'm just like, how you a player, but you upset that he didn't call you back or hasn't hasn't taken you on a date in a month. Who gives a fuck? Like, if that's what you want, if you want some player shit, who cares? You feel me? But if you want to be in a relationship, that is okay. You don't have to succumb to hookup culture if you don't want to. I just feel like a lot of these unclear boundaries will lead to situationships. And I keep saying this, talking is not a relationship status. Like, y'all gonna get sick of me saying this. I just feel like talking is it's not a level here. So I asked men early on, what are the stages of dating in your opinion? And I absolutely recommend that you ask this early and, get some clarity on this. I want men to define to me, I want them to identify to me how they define these levels. I read this meme and it said, I've been in a we almost dated but nah relationship so many times. Dating has become such an abstract concept to me. There's like 10 different levels of dating before you're actually dating. It's so confusing. I need a nap. And I love that because, bitch, yes, I always need a nap, okay? But I love this meme because, like, it speaks to the frustration of hookup culture and of millennial dating and the lack of boundaries that cause people to be frustrated by this. Like, this is what happens when you're not intentional when you're dating. This is what happens when you're not clear on your boundaries and you don't know how your partner or the people that you're dating defines dating and what they are looking for. Because basically this meme appropriately shows that there's just a lot of a lot of confusion and complication out there. These shades of gray, these 10 different levels that the meme was alluding to, that's what I'm talking about. And let's be real, some men who want to get over love that because they can do what they want without feeling guilty because they are technically not in a relationship with you. So you need to define it first. What are the level of dating? What are the levels of dating to you? To me, Jasmine Caress, I have 2 steps in dating. I am dating a man non-exclusively, meaning there is romantic interest and we are getting to know each other and go on dates and I see other people. Or I am dating someone exclusively, as in that's my boyfriend. He is the only man I see. It's just the 2 for me. That's it. Like, that's absolutely it. There ain't no levels to this shit as far as Jasmine is concerned. Like, I know people add in steps where they stop seeing or sleeping with others as a segue into a relationship. I'm good on that. I am single until I am not. What I do up until that point is not your damn concern. If you want me to stop seeing other men, then make it so that I stop seeing other men. Step your weight up. Apply the pressure. Like, I like to have men define their labels from the beginning so there's no confusion and there's no unnecessary hurt feelings. And I think that that is also one of the biggest issues because there is so much out there, like, and people are going to be mad because I keep saying this. I need people to take this "we're talking" out of their vocabulary. I ain't talking to none of these niggas, okay? Like, ain't nobody talking to me. Like, that is not a relationship status. What you look like telling people, oh, I used to talk to him. Like, what kind of claim is that? Like, no, we used to date and we don't anymore. That's it. Like, that's how I feel about it. But people don't even like that. Back to my earlier point, like, people don't like that word. It makes their skin crawl when you use the word date or dating. Like, they shy away from the words, which leads me to my next point about emotional unavailability. I think people don't like to use the word dating because it sounds too much like something serious. It sounds too much like something. And all people want when there are shades of gray in hookup culture is vagueness. And it's a lot of, oh, we're just going to see where things go. Some folks just love the obscurity that comes with this. We don't like to be vulnerable. There is just a lot of ego and a lot of walls built up. I find myself, or in the past, I've found myself very frustrated in dating because, like, you'll have a man who might be a traditional dater, but he's not emotionally available. So he's checking all your boxes otherwise, you guys are in alignment otherwise, but he's not breaking down those emotional walls for you. And then it's like, I'm just really tired of men making it seem like wanting a partnership is like not respectable, like it's not cool. Like they'll date you, they'll pull out the red carpet. Like I know men that will even commit to a woman when they know that they are not giving them that emotional availability. Like they'll commit sexually, financially, on every level, but emotionally is where I just feel like there's a lot of issues. You ain't got no problem doing all the nasty freaky shit, like you want all the raw sex, side note, without getting STD testing. But you want me to talk about how my ex has affected me and how sometimes I get triggered and, sometimes I'm afraid to commit because of my trauma and, I fear being hurt again. You want me to talk about the things I feel inside and things I struggle with when it comes to dating and partnership? Hell no. Like people, men especially, just don't want to be emotional and they don't want to be vulnerable out of that fear, that very valid fear of being hurt again. I often find myself gridlock with men because I think they feel like peeling back those layers and becoming intimate and an emotional aspect is just not something they're willing to do. And it's just something that's difficult. Cry me a motherfucking river, okay? Like, I don't be dragging men on this show, but I'm about to do it a little bit today. Like, I had a guy friend straight up tell me that he was bitter after a relationship, like, after a relationship ended, which, like, I appreciated his candor because a lot of men aren't honest about the way they feel post relationship. It's literally just, we broke up, the brick wall is up, and I'm about to fuck these hoes. Like, I appreciated him for addressing that he was upset. And that, he actually used the word, bitter. Like, I feel like too many men have one heartbreak by little Susie in the fifth grade, and they refuse to put themselves in situations where they have to be vulnerable. And like I said, they may enter relationships, but it still may be surface level ones until they are ready to break down those walls. Get therapy, get over yourself. It was 10 years ago. Like, no one gives a fuck. But I'm gonna need y'all to get over that shit. It's really frustrating that a man will give you all his money, all his time, all his attention, but he just has all these walls built up. Like, we all know women can be jaded for sure, but I just feel like we have so much more of a willingness to love. We have so much more of a willingness to be open to dating, and we may not have healed, but we're just more open. Like, this is not to say that women are not emotionally guarded, but we do, I feel like, just more than men, we do actively try to work at pursuing relationships and making something out of our dating life in spite of our past traumas. Now, does that shit seep back in? Absolutely. We need therapy too. But I just feel like women are more likely to try to be vulnerable if they, feel that they are finding a connection with someone. And that word, vulnerable, to men, it's like, what's that? And, I won't get into the whole dynamics of masculinity and men not feeling comfortable being vulnerable and using their emotions. Like I said, get therapy, get over it, date better people, whatever. And men compartmentalize. So it's really important that women understand men can absolutely have raw, nasty sex with you and not want to be with you like that at all. And I know some thoroughbred ass women who can do that shit too. And I love it. But be clear on who you may be dealing with. Some people are just commitment phobes. You are not a therapist. You deserve a partner who is healed. Be clear on your boundaries. I just posted a meme on the Instagram page the other day that said, y'all be his peace. I say, come healed. Period. Like, because what I'm not about to do is be dealing with you men who want someone to help you break down, these walls emotionally. Like, I do think love is a healing agent, but it is not and should not be the source of your healing. You have to unpack your own baggage. You have to figure your own shit out. Dating, relationships, and love can only do so much. And it just goes back to what I said at the top of the conversation. Be clear on your own boundaries. and, kind of know what you want and what you expect when you're entertaining somebody. The worst thing that can happen is that you are misaligned with the person you're seeing and you get your time wasted. Like, I was on Clubhouse earlier this week. Shout out to Black Girl Things. I love their Instagram page. I was on the stage for about 2 hours, and the subject was about women getting their time wasted. And we talked about being honest on first dates about what you are looking for. I've noticed that men are very vague, and they're like, I'm gonna go with the flow and I'm just looking to see where things go. Like, all that vague shit like really irritates most women. Like, y'all probably rolled your eyes when I said that. Like, and it's like, are you looking for a wife or not? Like, do you want me? Like, I do think women should actually learn to adapt this. And just hear me out for a second, because like, I know I just talked about misalignment, but I do think women should kind of learn to adapt this kind of vagueness. Like, I'm just looking to see where things go. I feel like part of the issue is, there's a lack of emotional availability, and some men will just be chameleons. I don't really tell men what I'm looking for, because I feel like you are literally giving them a roadmap to your pussy. Like, I say that I'm looking for a man to be his honest and full self. The part that I am not saying out loud is that when a man brings his full self, I can discern if that works for me or not. I feel like showing your hand gets you in a situation that can be more difficult than not showing your hand. I was just having a conversation with a guy last week, and he said, what are you looking for in a man? And, I actually gave him qualities of my ideal guy and talked about how I would submit to that man, which, I don't normally do. I normally won't spell it out, but, we were engaging in this discussion. And he goes, well, I'm not looking for you to do that. And I'm like, I'm not talking about you. Like, I'm not asking that of you. And I just have learned that when you tell a man something about dating, um, he thinks you're talking about him. So when you say on the first date, I want a boyfriend, he hears she wants me to be her boyfriend. And even if that man isn't against entering a relationship, he may still use that information against you. Like, every interaction, you expected him to call, you expected him to do this and that. And, like, I know some people won't agree with this, but I just feel like y'all need to peep game. Like, some men just internalize what you say, and they absolutely can and will use that against you. So, play it cool. And like I said, some men will be chameleons and they will adapt to exactly what you say. So if you say, oh, I'm looking for something serious, well, so am I. And then 3 weeks later, he done love bomb the fuck out of you. And, I'll talk about love bombing and red flags on another episode. But 3 weeks later, you're confused and y'all have had sex and you think you're in love. And you're like, wait, what happened? Like, sis, you got finessed. A lot of the stuff I'm saying is about like what's happening in dating, society, and culture, but I just keep coming back to knowing who you are, you advocating for yourself, you knowing what you want. And the key is the ability to discern, is this going to work for me or not? A man telling you before y'all go on a date that he's just looking to see where things go, that's actually perfectly okay. A man telling you this after a month of dating is not okay if you're looking for a relationship. But in the beginning, I just think it's okay for women to adapt this looking to see where things go mindset, because you are. Like, think about it. On a first date, I don't want you to be my boyfriend. I don't even fucking know you. So I do think that women should adopt this, but the most important part is being able to discern, is this person aligned with me? And that's an issue that comes out in dating. I think that people just don't date right. They don't take their time with dating. The thing is, you can find out exactly who a man is in 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years. And that really just comes down to your discernment and you listening and asking the right hard-hitting questions, understanding what is he actually saying, and does what he say match up to what he's doing. The guy on Clubhouse, one of the guys on Clubhouse was talking about how women should know when their time is being wasted. He said when men start using fillers, what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'll take you on more dates. I'll call you more. I'll text you regularly." And then they'll turn around and they'll fill in space. They use fillers. And they come up with excuses and all these reasons. And next thing you know, it's been another month and you haven't actually seen him do what he said he was going to do. I feel like you can be intentional in dating without showing your hand. That's just my opinion on that. And I know some women will disagree with me, but it only take one time for a man to finesse you out of your boundaries because you told him you wanted a boyfriend and he gave you the boyfriend experience and now your nose is wide open. I say all that to say, wanted to just give a quick recap of what the history of hookup culture is and kind of how we got here and how you should navigate and figuring out where you stand in this new millennium of dating. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the segment. The dating tip of the week this week is sometimes it's okay to have a fresh start. So, I just in my personal life and, like I've been like talking to people and talking to couples and stuff and, just kind of asking them about their relationships and how it started. And this couple told me that they actually had a misfire when they first started dating. And, with this hookup culture and with everyone, just kind of being out here, not really clear on what they're doing, and all this texting and Instagramming and face snapping and all this shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy for there to be misfires when you first start seeing someone. And sometimes shit just fizzles out. And, she told me, she was like, a couple months later, they reconnected and they've been together for a year. And so I just thought that was super cute and super beautiful. So, and just in my own life, like I feel like it's okay to give a second chance. So, clean slates are absolutely okay. Now, obviously, we're not going to be doing every single, time and time again, we're starting back over, but nothing's wrong with a clean slate. It's a new year. It's a fresh start. If you have some misfires and you decide to reconnect with the person, and just get back on the same page, shit, or get off the pot, like, I think that's completely okay. So that's your dating tip of the week. Second chances are okay. It is okay to have a fresh start. It's time for Down in the DMs. Down in the DMs is basically where you guys hit me up, email, text, DM me about any questions or any situations that you want me to give some input on. I got a text recently already. It's some 2021 mess. We're going to call her JoJo. So JoJo says, I went on a trip a few months ago and this guy, Don, whose name I made up, was the only guy on the trip. There was about 4 girls in him. He took on the big brother and protector role, but I did find him attractive. He was already sleeping with one of the girls on the trip though. Don and I connected recently and we have been fucking. I am dating other guys, but he is definitely up there for me and the sex is amazing. I really like him. This is Jasmine speaking. Y'all always telling me about the good sex y'all having in these letters. Where are y'all finding these men? Okay. Back to this letter. So he held a kickback and the girl from the trip showed up. He had previously told me that on the trip, she was actually the aggressor and she was just popping up in his room when we were out of the country and basically would just pop up in his room and was pressed for him and he just didn't turn her down. When she got to the house, I just kind of brushed it off, mainly because he and I ended up going back into his room and having a quickie during the party. When we came back out, we all hung out some more. Next thing you know, he gets super drunk. So his friends take him to his bedroom and are trying to get him situated. The girl then goes in there and tries to nurse him back to health and refuses to leave his bedroom. So I'm with my best friend and I'm just like feeling weird about it. So I go in there while she's trying to like rub his back and take care of him. And I just ask him if he needs food or water. It was just super weird. So he says no. And now he says no. And now I feel dumb because she's all over him and he doesn't even want my help. I was pissed the fuck off and noticed that when we left his house, she left too. So basically this bitch was waiting until I was leaving to leave. I'm mad as fuck about this. And I let him have it the next day. I just felt like he chose her over me. Like, how should I handle this situation going forward? Thank you, JoJo, for reaching out. Girl, this is a mess. So, first of all, like, men be lying. Like, this whole she threw it at me on the trip and I just didn't turn it down. He's not some helpless, hapless victim. Men be lying. And so I wouldn't even put any stock into the fact that, she was throwing it at him because he was just trying to make you not feel skeptical about you guys' situation. So I wouldn't put any stock in the fact that he said that she was throwing it because he was taking it. So, now are they still sleeping together or not would be my question. But, he was drunk. So it's like, I don't really feel like, I see why you feel like he chose her over you, but I don't feel like that's what happened. Like, he was drunk and he's drunk to the point where, he got to get, his friends got to take care of him. All you guys got to take care of him. Like, he's not in his right mind. So him saying that he doesn't want food or water specifically from you, I don't think that that's that big of a deal. My more so issue would be this girl, and I just feel like she was kind of playing herself with this whole situation because, girl, like, if y'all snuck away at the party, or sneaking or not, like, when you had a kickback, like, I will know, like, oh, okay, these two people are dating, or oh, okay, they didn't went back into the room. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard to miss. So for y'all to go away and have a quickie and then come back out, like, I am certain that it was very obvious what just happened. So and I know that she knew because when he got sick, she was all over him and she waited until you left to leave. And so she was absolutely feeling threatened, which kind of makes me think that he is still sleeping with her too. Because I feel like this was like a date contest. Like, I feel like she was just basically like trying to pull her weight or whatever. And I can completely understand. I mean, the whole situation, it gives me cringy. Like, just reading it, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, that's completely uncomfortable. I do feel like she played herself though, because it's like, listen, ain't gonna be no way. I knew, even if this is her first notice that, okay, this dude is clearly sleeping with somebody else. Like, I'm not gonna be at a party and watch you walk away and then re-enter the room with another woman after 15, 20 minutes and then be all over you after the fact because I'm feeling threatened. Like, stay in your lane, play your part. You know what I mean? Like, clearly he is a single man and he's doing single things. So it is what it is. But the fact that she was just all over him, like, I can't get with that energy. Like, I'm not gonna play myself like that. I can understand you coming in and checking on him or whatever, but I would just be so irritated with her. I feel like the fact that, you eventually left and, didn't push the issue was definitely in your best interest because everybody else in the party pretty much knows, you know what I mean? That, y'all were hooking up. And so to see her then go in and fawn all over him, like, how the fuck do you look like going in there having a battle for his drunk ass affections? You know what I mean? Like, he's not even sober. So it's like, I feel like, you had the upper hand in the fact that you weren't all, falling all over him, which you actually had a right to do because you just fucked him. But, I just I'm glad that the letter ended the way it did and you got up and basically left. I do think it's funny that she waited until you left to leave just to make sure that you didn't stay the night or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that you should have been mad at him. Like, I don't feel like he particularly did anything wrong other than getting extremely drunk. I mean, he was at his house, but I don't really think he has particularly done anything wrong. You're dating other people. Clearly he is too. I would only hope that everybody's using protection, because, he's obviously sleeping with other people as well. But I don't think that he did anything wrong. So my question for you and the way that I want you to assess the situation going forward is, what is it that you are expecting from him? Because if y'all are just hooking up, that's completely okay. If y'all are just hooking up, like I kind of said earlier in the episode, like that's cool. You know what I mean? Like live your best life, have this great, amazing sex, but you also need to be clear on what it is that you want. Because if you want something more from him, then you might need to dial it back a bit. But the whole situation was uncomfortable. So regardless of what you want, I would just have a conversation with him about like, don't have me in the same room with other bitches that you fucking. You know what I mean? Even if you do decide, I just want the sex. That's okay. But I would just have a conversation with him because this whole battle, I'm literally not about to fight with you bitches about this man. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. So this little battle that she tried to have with you, like, girl, fucking bye. Like, I'm completely disinterested in competing over a man. So I would just be like, look, I don't have no problem with you doing you because I'm doing me, but don't have me around that girl or have a conversation with her. Like, when we in the same room together, like you need to chill. But I would not feel comfortable being in the room. Even if we're all doing our own thing, I would not feel comfortable being in a room with another girl that he's also sleeping with and her trying to compete with me. Like, that's some bird shit, and you better than that. So, best of luck with that situation. Like I said, you need to figure out exactly what you want from him first, but definitely have a conversation about boundaries and, y'all being around each other. So, best of luck. It's time for your trivia. Ooh, ooh. I love trivia. So the trivia of this week is the number one relationship argument is over. Is it A, sex, B, money, C, family, or D, defining the relationship? You'll have to listen to next week's episode to get the answer. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. We're on episode 8. We're in 2021. New year, new episode. Who dis? Like, I want you guys to reach out to me with any suggestions that you have about topics and things you want to hear this year. As I get to planning, I have hundreds and hundreds of things, a running list of stuff that I want to talk about. But I'm always asking you guys for feedback and telling me what you guys want to hear me talk about. And if you have any guest ideas in mind, I have a couple guests that I'm excited about bringing to you guys. But if you have any guests, feel free to send those to me as well. Make sure you like, comment, review, rate, and subscribe. Run up my reviews, y'all. Y'all have just been so amazing. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you guys next time. Hey, hey, hey.